Hey guys, I hope you're staying warm. Um, I've got the announcements here and I just want to go through the plan, okay? So this is what I put in the updates, and remember that you do need to like that in order to be counted present today on this e-learning day. Tomorrow is the end of the unit Mastery Check hard deadline, so we don't get a day off today. We do need to still work, okay? So sorry about that, but at least we get to stay home, right? So today is a great day to spend some time preparing for the in-class essay that will be on Thursday and Friday. 5.5 is all about preparing you for the summative assessment on Thursday and Friday. And then this is the video that I made to help you with everything. So we're doing the campfire electronically today, and also the mastery check you can do electronically today. Tomorrow's the last day to do the final two mastery checks. The first one, most of you did in a group, and really it's just requiring you to look over the slideshow that's in 5.4, and you're welcome to use any of those answers that Pods came up with on the poem by Trethewey for your mastery check, because it was just kind of a practice. And the way that I explained that was, hey, we got training wheels on. Feel free to use this when it comes to the next one for the summative assessment. You won't have those training wheels. You'll need to do it on your own. But I want you to, I do want to still have some time to talk about the summative assessment poem as a group. So we're doing it this way, electronically and by using the discussion in Schoology. All right, so what I'm hoping that you're going to be doing today then is to read, first of all, the sample essay, which is not on our poem. It's on the poem that you read for 5.4, the first poem, Jesus on the Iron Cross. So read that sample essay. It's in Schoology in the 5.5 folder with 3 questions. And the questions you are to answer in your packet in those boxes in 5.4. The next thing to do is to read Transcendental Love Poem. So hopefully you got a paper copy from me on Friday. If you didn't, it's in Schoology in 5.5. Maybe you can print off a copy at home or just work on it electronically using your Chromebook. Either way will work. I like having the physical paper copy personally, but I was born in the 20th century. We can do hub huddles tomorrow, which tomorrow is really our only day in class before you're going to be writing your in-class essay. So come prepared if you want to have that extra help, and we can do hub huddles in class. But today I want you to work on the poem electronically for the campfire, and then also you can do the mastery check electronically anytime, anywhere for this final 5.5 mastery check. Okay, well, let's take a look at the poem. I'm going to let you guys look at the sample essay on Jesus on the Iron Cross. You can do that on your own. I'm not even going to go through that with you, okay? But I do want to go through the poem. So here is the poem. I hope that you like it. What I do when I choose a poem for a summative assessment for this unit is I find a poem that has been written recently, and so there isn't any literary criticism out on the poem. So you can't easily find an interpretation or an analysis on the poem. If you ask AI to write an analysis, evaluation, and interpretation, what you'll find is they're going to do a mediocre job. AI is not as good as humans are yet at writing these, and so I hope that you won't do that. I hope that you will work on this on your own and, look up words that you might need help with, context for specific places, things like that. But AI is not going to write you an A-level essay, okay? It just isn't that sophisticated yet. Okay. By the way, on Thursday and Friday, you can use your packet and only your packet as you write the in-class essay. So you won't be able to use your Chromebook or a phone. You'll have to make sure you print off anything that you do electronically before the test on Thursday. Okay, so let us take a look here. Transcendental Love Song. This was published. Oh, I forgot to put the author's name on here. This was published just last December. Yeah, December 2024 in Poetry Magazine. And the author's name is Daryl Alejandro Holmes. And so he is a poet who lives in Florida. Okay, so let's take a look at the poem, Transcendental Love Song. This love dares not speak its name in some states until your eyes say it on a beach in Fort Lauderdale. Staring into mine, and the cosmos spins out of my iris, y nos nubla, y nos vuela, into the postulated sky of matted matter and sparkling light, safely in a haze of shadows and shine. Away from the marches against our marriages and the congressional bills against our histories being taught. I cannot say how much I love you in Brickell or Tampa, but I can look back at you painting perfectly 1,000 ways for me to say, be mine. Don't you see? This is not a barren love. Ours is a lust like hydrogen or helium. Once we have each other, we need not be named to be elemental, to be beyond city or state. We need not be named to be animal, raw, and rocket shipped, shooting through the universe with the engine's torque pulling us even closer together than skin to skin could ever describe. All right, so we know right from the title that it's a love song, and it certainly seems to be once we read it, right? So let's scasify it. You can feel free to take some notes in your packet on this. These are must do, should do, and aspire to do is all of the brainstorming and preparation work before you write the essay. So first of all, for setting, we seem to have two clear settings, and one is literal and one is figurative, right? So we have this first reference to places with this line in some states. And then we have this literal setting here on a beach in Fort Lauderdale. And then the figurative setting comes into play in line 6. The cosmos spins, right? So we have this larger, like, universal setting of, flying through the stars, flying through the cosmos. You can imagine that this is a comparison really of what it feels like to be in love. So the literal setting is on a beach in Fort Lauderdale, and it's when you, the second character, you, says, I love you, right? Or speaks its name of love with their eyes. And then let's see what else. Brickell or Tampa are mentioned. Brickell and Tampa are both cities in Florida. And I think that's all you need to know about that. And then we have another, reference. The last part of the poem is spending most of the time in this figurative setting of flying through the stars, right? Shooting through the universe. And there's some kind of engine, like a rocket engine, seemingly pulling them closer, right? Oh, by the way, we do have some Spanish in the poem, y nos nubla y nos vuela, and clouds us and blows us away. So the verbs here, to cloud, to, I guess to fly really, but maybe in this instance, it's closer to blows us away. You Spanish speakers will have to let me know what you think about that translation. So up here, the cosmos spins out of my iris. So the iris of the eye, and clouds us, nos nubla. So E is and, nos nubla, clouds us. So the cosmos is doing the action here, and blows us into the sky. So the cosmos clouds us and blows us into the postulated sky of matted matter and sparkling light. Okay. So there we have the settings, right? Characters, we've got your eyes staring into mine. So there's a you and a your and a mine, right? My iris, I can look back at you, me, you, we. So there's two clear characters, the speaker, I, and the you. And they are in love, and they are communicating their love. The description is of the communication of their love for the first time. How about the actions? I think, again, we have some literal and some figurative actions taking place in the poem. The first literal action is you, the you character. Their eyes speak the name of their love, or somehow voice the label, the naming of their love for the speaker. And then we also have the speaker who, so I'm sorry, the speaker's lover, maybe we can just call them that, right? The speaker's lover's eyes say their love, and their eyes are staring into the speaker's eyes. Okay, and then this other action is figurative. The movement of, being sort of launched, clouded, and blown into the sky is figurative. But there's a lot of action words that are connected with that figurative language, and so that would be lovely for you guys to look at. And it's continued to, there's some more action here that it's into the sky, away from the marches against our marriages, and congressional bills against our histories being taught. And then the speaker cannot say how much I love you, but I can look back at you. So there's this contrast between what actions the characters can take and what actions they can't take. They have difficulty speaking, right? And they're doing it with their eyes. They're communicating with their looks, how they're looking at each other. And with the speaker's eyes, they say, be mine, to the lover. And then I highlighted these lines too. We need not be named. That is repeated. There's, again, the speaker's commenting on the difficulty of naming the love or labeling the love. But by the end by the end declares that we don't have to be named. We don't have to name it, right? In order, for us to be shooting through the universe, pulling us even closer to each other. Okay, so the poem is maybe less, maybe there's less action of the characters and more description of how the love feels in figurative terms that include action. This idea of being, thrown into the universe, shooting through the universe as elements, right? Okay, so let's move on to style and ideas. Now, for style and ideas, it's important to look at the guiding question. I didn't get this on the paper copy that I gave you on Friday, so I apologize. Feel free to write it on there, write it anywhere. This is your guiding question for your essay. How is imagery and detail used in this poem to show the power of love? So it's similar to the guiding question from Jesus on the Iron Cross, which was, how is imagery used in the poem to show the strength of an individual? This one is, how is imagery and detail used in this poem to show the power of love? Okay, so if we're talking style, we're talking, I guess I don't need to go back. We're talking imagery and detail. That's the style we want to focus on. You can bring up other aspects of style, like form and structure, and anything else you notice, but you really don't have to. And so since you only have 2 days to write the essay, my suggestion is to just stick with imagery and detail. There's a lot to work with in the poem with just imagery and detail. And so you can let go of form and structure and the other cool things that we've been talking about in poems for this essay. So the first thing, style, I marked some of what I thought were the most potent images. I don't think that these are the only things you could talk about, but these are certainly some potent images that you'll want to talk about. And so I've got into the postulated sky of matted matter and sparkling light safely in a haze of shadows and shine. There's a lot going on there, a lot to talk about. Spend some time with your imagery questions and, spend some time letting these images affect you on a personal level and write about it. That's the best way to deal with imagery, right? And then we've got away from the marches against our marriages and the congressional bills against our histories being taught. I don't know, maybe those are marches against our marriages is maybe the clearest image there. Maybe the others are more details than imagery. I can look back at you painting perfectly 1,000 ways for me to say, be mine. This is an interesting sentence, and I think it's up for interpretation how you want to deal with this sentence. But if you look at the sentence structure, I think that's important when dealing with these 3 lines. So I can look back at you painting perfectly 1,000 ways for me to say, be mine. So the sentence is structured in a way where the main action, and this is all in response to the first part of the sentence, right? I cannot say how much I love you in Brickell or Tampa, but. So this is what the speaker cannot do. This is what the speaker can do. I can look back at you. So if you remember from the beginning of the poem, the lover is looking into the speaker's eyes and through that look telling them they love them, right? Down here, we come back to that. I can look back at you. So this is in response to the lover looking into the speaker's eyes and saying, I love you, or naming the love. Painting perfectly 1,000 ways for me to say, be mine. So the word choice is interesting here. Painting. Painting perfectly 1,000 ways for me to say, be mine. Is the speaker, I think it's somewhat ambiguous. Ambiguous is a key word when it comes to poetry, right? I'm just going to type it up here. Ambiguous simply means that there's more than one possibility of meaning at the same time. All right. And one thing that's tricky about interpreting poetry is that we as readers want to say that it has to mean one thing. We want that hypothetical metaphoric equation where this equals that, right? This symbolizes that. But in poetry, It's pretty tricky to prove that with the details that were given. And so what's easier to prove and more valid is that things often have more than one meaning. And in that sentence, I think that's the case. I can look back at you painting perfectly 1,000 ways for me to say be mine. It's not clear who's painting perfectly 1,000 ways. It could be the speaker or it could be the lover. Either way, it's figurative, and it has to do with communicating, and it has to do with art in the same way that writing a love poem is communicating, is painting, it is creating art to communicate. Painting would also be doing that, right? Painting would also be communicating through art. Writing poetry is communicating through art as well. So I think that's the similarity. But I think these lines are up for some interpretation. And I think there's some ambiguity in them, and that's okay. All right? I hope you're okay with that. I also highlighted ours is a lust like hydrogen or helium. Oh, here's a great simile, right? We've got the word like there, and so it's a comparison between two things that at first seem unalike, but on further inspection are similar. So do some thinking about that. Look up, what do hydrogen and helium have in common? And where else in the poem do I see aspects connected to hydrogen and helium? How about elemental, right? Shooting through the universe. Anything having to do with elements would be appropriate. Anything having to do with stars, since stars are made up of hydrogen and helium, would be appropriate. That would be a great pattern to trace. Hint, hint, double hint. Oh, this one is interesting too. Look at this. We need not be named to be animal, raw, and rocket shipped, shooting through the universe with the engine's torque pulling us even closer together than skin to skin could ever describe. So the engine's torque, this is the force of the engine, moving so fast that it is pushing them together. Oh, did you hear my kitty? My kitty just sneezed in the background. That's Wolf. Okay, so let's see. Ideas. I highlighted some things. I think this is, the ideas are pretty explicit here. This love dares not speak its name in some states until your eyes say it. So there's a feeling in the poem of the speakers being unable to speak their love's name, to label their love. Another sneeze from my kitty. But they're able to communicate it through their eyes, which is more powerful than anything else, right? Once we have each other, we need not be named. So the speaker says the naming of our love is not as important as the love, being together, being in love, communicating it to each other. Okay? All right, so those are some basic things I think about the poem that are important to understand, and I hope those help you. Now the next step is for you to spend some time with the poem on your own, doing the activities in the packet. The packet is in Schoology in case you don't have your packet with you. What else can I tell you? And then I'm going to have you make a comment. Just follow the directions in 5.5 for the campfire discussion, and then you can do the mastery check in 5.5. I'm sorry I don't have your 5.4 mastery check scores up yet. Those are back at the coop in room 243, so I can't look through those today. But I tried to make that one kind of an easy one, right? I'm hoping, that everybody gets 10 out of 10 pretty easily with that group mastery check. And if you didn't do 5.4, you can shoot me an email and I'll email you back and tell you exactly what you need to do. And you can just take care of that over email, or you can do it tomorrow in class on Wednesday, February 19th, the last day to do the mastery checks. Okay, so Campfire and Mastery Check for 5.5 in Schoology. Enjoy the poem. I hope that you like it. I had a lot of fun finding it, and I was pretty happy when I chose it. So that's all there is for today. Stay warm, you cold geniuses. Love ya. See you tomorrow.